Hello, hello. Welcome to From Zero to Streamer, the social media journey with HK Jewel podcast. In this podcast, we dive deep into the world of social media streaming, unraveling the step-by-step journey of becoming a successful content creator. Each episode features interviews with seasoned streamers, social media experts, and influencers who share their story, tips, and lessons learned. Whether you're starting from scratch or looking to level up your streaming game, we'll cover essential topics like building an audience, selecting the right platform, creating engaging content, managing mental health, and monetizing your stream. Join us as we explore the highs and lows and everything in between on the path to turning your passion into a thriving career in the digital world. Whether you're into gaming, lifestyle, music, or vlogging, this podcast will help you find your niche and thrive in the competitive world of social media streaming. Welcome. We have another special guest today. Today, we're hosting Geek Girl Nikki. That's her platform streaming name for TikTok. And we're going to ask her some awesome questions. How are you today?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. I'm so excited. I personally have known her for a long time. Social media a long time, which is in human worlds, probably like more than dog years. And
Absolutely.
so, so I feel like I am biased because I already know you and I know a lot about you, but I'm hoping that the folks listening today will be able to learn as much and then fall in love with your content as much as I do.
Awesome.
So, um, the standard issued, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into streaming?
Sure. So, as Joel said, my name is Nikki or Geek Girl Nikki, or most people call me Geek on social media, which is absolutely fine. I consider that a compliment. I love being called Geek. And as you can tell by the name, I am a pop culture geek. I love everything from Harry Potter to Marvel to 80s. I am the 80s queen. Hello.
Yes, you are. I've learned more about the 80s in the last year than I've ever thought I would.
Yes, and we'll talk a little bit more about the 80s later on, but I am from Southwest Ohio. I only do social media kind of part-time because I do work a full-time job. I do work for an amusement park company. I've been with them for 27 years, and I'm a lot older than I look. So Um, so yeah, so that, and I'm married to a Mr. Geek. Everybody knows my husband as Mr. Geek. And we have two fur babies, Roger and Sammy. And those are our only fur babies that we have, are fur babies. So I'm super excited to talk a little bit more about my journey on, social media and how I got started and, my passions for it.
And I'm so excited because I know a lot of your journey, but I don't think we've ever had this conversation. So some of this might actually also be new to me. Although I've been part of your journey, I don't think I've asked you. I know what type of content you've done so far, and I know that you are in a journey of transition. So the next question that I usually ask our first time streamers on this podcast is what type of content do you primarily focus on? Now, in your case, it's going to be a little bit different because we're going to probably take a step back and talk about what your journey has been of your content focus up until now. And
Mhm.
maybe, I don't know if you're willing to share, or maybe you're going to hold it as a surprise, what the future holds on the upcoming months.
Sure. So, currently, or what I have been doing, my content, and like we talked about 80s. I am a music fanatic. That's another thing that I'm very passionate about, specifically 80s music. But really, it's the music that I grew up with. So again, I'm a lot older than I look. So I grew up with music from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even I like some of the stuff from the early 2000s too. But really, primarily, it's the 80s and the 90s. So my content has been, up until recently, doing 80s music, 90s music, and engaging with my viewers and my chat with, you know, topics about the 80s, what kind of music they remember from the 80s, what kind of memories the songs bring back to people. So that has been my platform. But yes, like you said, we are in a transition right now, and I'd be happy to announce, I guess, here what I'm going to be pursuing uh, relatively soon. And that is going to be the world of box battling, but it will be 80s themed. So I don't know that I've seen anybody else out there on social media do 80s themed box battles. So I'm extremely excited to be venturing down that path. I think it's going to be lots of fun.
I am super excited. Historically speaking, if you've been to my streams, I stand on a fence as far as like usually box battles are concerned, because if you are and have been to TikTok, box battles are pretty famous, but oftentimes they tend to be with low engagement. Recently, we have had a streamer that I'm hoping to bring on the podcast in the future that has been extremely successful at developing engaging, game-based um, stream centered on box battling. And I'm excited to see you guys' partnership in leveling up, because I do think that that type of live has a potential when incorporating that gaming aspect, that interactive aspect. And I think you doing with the 80s sort of evolves your theme from before. And
Mhm.
I know, and I've seen it, that that wasn't originally what you started with. So it's very fascinating to watch your transition from crafting to 80s to what you're doing now. And if you guys don't know, she is the queen of diamond art and Legos. I will tell you that.
I, in fact, I don't know if we want to talk about the Lego incident, but yeah, the
Fun
very
fact,
first.
go for
All right,
it.
let's go for it. So this is a not what to do. No. So I was very new to social media, to especially to TikTok, and I do have to give a shout out to my friend Tiffany, because if it wasn't for Tiffany, I would never have met HK, and I would never have gone down this path. So really, I need to shout out to my friend Tiffany, because she's the one that kind of put me on this path from the get go. But
Yay
anyway,
for Tiffany.
yay for Tiffany. So I decided I didn't really want to show my face while I was going live, because just like any other new streamer, it's very, very scary.
Very.
And you don't know what kind of reaction other people are going to have towards you. So I was a little self-conscious, so I'm like, I'm not going to show my face, I'm just going to show myself building Legos. Now, I'm a lot older than I look, but here I go building Legos, and I'm on TikTok, and all of a sudden my live stream gets shut down, and I get a message saying that, and I don't believe it was a violation. I think it was just a restriction. But
Yeah.
yeah, I got my live pretty much shut down because they didn't think that I was old enough to be on TikTok, because I was
Nope.
building Legos and only showing my hands. So I had to age verify. I had to actually do where they like scan your face basically.
And it did like you had to do
Yeah.
multiple, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
I think you were one of our first cases where we had to go through the full facial verification, not just
Yep.
like the picture of the driver's license and all
Nope.
that.
Right. Yes. It was like facial recognition thing that I had to show my face on the screen, and they scanned it or whatever it is that they did to prove that I was not under the minimum age to be going live on TikTok. So um that's when I decided, you know what, I'm going to just bite the bullet and show my face, and just do it. And
And
it's
I'm
been,
glad you did.
yeah, it's been amazing ever since.
It has. I mean, we have met, I may speak for myself, but I see a lot of the same folks in your chat, but we have met some amazing folks by going live.
Absolutely. I have family because of going live.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Like, yeah, do we get it, our share piece of trolls? 100%. But even the trolls make it fun.
Oh, absolutely.
And later on, I do want you to tell the story of the troll and how excited you got with the troll. But before we get there, you mentioned your friend Tiffany, and that ties in with my next question to you, which is what inspired you to start streaming? Do you remember?
It really, honestly, again, it goes back to Tiffany. It goes back to watching her. At first, I had TikTok back, during the pandemic, like everybody else.
I
Um,
didn't. I opened it last year.
oh, well, okay. So
I
when I
was
said I
skeptical
had,
as
well,
they come.
well, let me back up. Mr. Geek had it. In fact, Mr. Geek at one point had to um, delete the app because he was spending too much time scrolling through the app. He wasn't going live. He wasn't doing. He wasn't. He was just a watcher. He wasn't posting posts. He wasn't doing anything. He was just a watcher. But he was watching a lot of TikTok. And again, it was during the pandemic. So he was like, I have to step away from this because it's eating up all of the time of my day. I'm like, yes, I agree. But then, but then, in let's kind of like, yeah, so in 2022, I downloaded it and started watching it a little bit more because I was recovering from surgery and I needed something to kind of occupy my time. I was off work for 6 weeks. It was a major surgery. So I started to just kind of watch, what was going on TikTok during that. And originally my platform, I wanted to be about my journey with my surgery, and the fact that I am what they call an ostomate. So I have a colostomy, and that was what I wanted to share, because when I was getting ready to go through that, I didn't find a lot of other people out there that had like the same, that was going through the same or had gone through the same journey that I had gone through. So I was like, you know what? I want to share this with people. I want them to know that I'm a resource, and then TikTok decided that they didn't want us to talk about like medical stuff. So I was
Yeah,
like,
that's a
yeah,
big one,
work.
which is
Yeah.
really a bummer because a lot of
Mhm.
things can be super inspiring, but they
Mhm.
they are very sensitive to anything medically related.
They are, absolutely. So like I said, I was basically a watcher. I was posting, some, random videos here and there with, my dogs or whatever. And again, it wasn't until I saw Tiffany go live, and she was going live like every night, and she was playing music and playing games with her chat. She and she was doing like like kind of like a categories game one night, and then she was doing trivia the other night, and I was like, this is so much fun. And then I got to talking to her, and she's like, oh yeah, she's like, you can monetize on this app too. And I'm like, what
Right? That's a
what
game
what?
changer.
Yeah,
Monetization is a game changer.
absolutely. So I was like, well, if Tiffany can do it, I can do it. And so I did it, and here we are.
Yes, you can. And even if you are not with the full intent of turning this into a business, just enough monetization that you're not spending out of your own pocket to continue regifting and supporting other content creators, in my opinion, is a win.
Oh, absolutely.
I could be wrong on this, but personally, I think it's a win the moment you stop having to spend your own cabbage to support your content creators. I think that's already a win.
And here's another thing too. I did not realize that. Okay, so I had, up until recently, I had another side gig. I'm not going to go into that, but I was struggling this past year with said side gig. I was not making money with that side gig. I was bringing in. I'm now bringing in more per week than I was making per month on that side gig. And
Oh,
so I
wow.
made the decision to stop doing that business to focus more on live streaming, because for me, it's putting more money in my pocket than what,
100%.
and less time, honestly, because I
Less
was
time, more cabbage, and it's fun.
absolutely, yeah.
That is exciting. I did not know that. I knew about the other business. I knew that you were on the fence. I knew that you took a trip to reassess your priorities related to that, but I did not know. That is news to me. Well, I'm excited for the new journey. It makes a lot more sense now, the whole transition.
Yes.
I knew it didn't really necessarily have to do just with New Year's because we've had these conversations. And listen, if you are listening to this podcast, those reassessments and those transitions happen all the time. When
all
your
the
content goes stale, when you start getting bored, when things don't feel the way you want them to feel, we reassess all the time. What you see today in just about every single content creator, chances are it was not what it was 6 months ago.
exactly.
And so it's just exciting that it's also part of the new year's.
I know. It kind of just like aligned. Like,
It did.
and it's aligned. It's a new year. It's going to be new content, and it's again, shedding for me the things that were taking away time but not benefiting me. So I needed to, it was a hard decision to do that because I had been doing that side gig for almost 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Me, it was a very hard decision. I have, again, a family over there that people that I have worked with that have become my family, not real family.
Hmm.
But it was very hard for me to let them know, hey, I'm stepping away from this because it's just not working for me anymore. They understood. They weren't upset or anything like that. They understood that I have to make these decisions for me. And yeah, it got to the point where, yes, I did take the trip in August. I was a little bit more inspired after that trip to kind of stick it out. But then during the holidays, I saw the writing on the wall, and that's when I finally said, you know what, I have to I have to do this now.
I feel you because I'm sitting right there for my current career too.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very stable career. It is something that I've been doing for almost 6 years now. And come February, I'm going to have to make that decision whether I'm going to continue or whether I'm going to take a leap to doing this full time. And it's a very, very scary transition. Um, and it's very scary to take that leap of faith. With that being said, what are some of the challenges that you have faced with streaming and how you have overcome to be where you are today?
So obviously, one of the challenges is time, right? So there's only 24 hours in a day, and unless you're a robot, you do have to have some sleep. We do know some robots, but
We do. We're called the team No Sleep for
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 a
that
reason.
reason.
Right. So you again, it's prioritization. So time is definitely a factor. And having, making sure that you have a support system too. Mr. Geek could not be any more supportive than he already is. He at first was like, "Are you really going to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really going to do this." And then when he saw like the benefits of doing it, he was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, I support you 100%." So you have to have that support system. But some of the challenges, again, like you said, time, um, finding out what you want to do,
Oh,
finding out what that
so
niche is.
hard.
It is hard, and you when you go onto social media and you see what other people are doing, you're like, oh, well, okay, I like that, maybe I can do that. But then you see, oh, wait a minute, no, but I like that, maybe I can do that. And I was very flippy floppy, wishy-washy when I first started streaming. Like, during the week I was doing Diamond Dart, like Joel said, I was doing that. On the weekends I was doing music. And it was like, okay, my algorithm isn't really liking this because it's confused. It doesn't know if I'm
Mhm.
a diamond art person or a music person. So I
It
had
doesn't
to,
know where to push you.
right, exactly. So I had to make that decision. So that was challenging. That just figuring out what you want to do. And then I would say the third thing that is most challenging, especially if you're new and you've never gone live, is pushing that go live button.
Oh, that is
That's
so hard.
so challenging. But once you do it and
You're
you
hooked.
you're yeah, you're definitely hooked. Now, I will say that going live isn't for everybody. I
Nope.
don't feel like everybody can do this, but try it. You're not going to know whether or not you're going to be successful at it unless you actually just do it. And there is a phrase that we used to say, or we say in our the side gig I'm getting rid of. I do take some of the things that I've learned there and bring it to what I do now. Not only with, sorry, my dog is behind me. That was my doggy. That was Sammy saying hello. Um,
Hi.
so one of the things that I, okay, we're gonna have to cut this part out because I just lost my train of thought.
No, it's okay. You don't have to cut it out. It's all part of the process. How,
Okay.
what do I call it? Squirrels in the chat?
Oh my gosh, I'm squirreling right now. Okay, where was
Squirrels in
I?
the chat. We're
Oh,
talking
oh, oh,
about the
oh,
three
oh,
paths of journey
yes, yes, yes.
and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Your first, yeah, the first time you go live. Okay. The phrase that I always like to use is do it scared.
Oh yeah.
Do it scared. If you are terrified, but you really want to do this, do it scared.
I like
Because
that.
what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to go live. You're going to probably get a bunch of trolls in there. Don't let them fluster you. You're going to get, I remember, actually, you know what? The Lego live was not my very, very first live. I actually tried to do an unboxing video with mini brands, and I got trolled so hard on that. I think it lasted 10 minutes because I had people in the chat telling me that my TikTok was about to be shut down, and they kept spamming my chat that TikTok
Oh,
down.
yes.
Back in those days when you had those trolls that would come into new accounts and they would be like,
They do the
you're violating
mass.
blah 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 blah. And then
Mhm.
other people in the chat were like, no, keep going. It's just a blah blah. And I didn't know what was going on. So yeah, my very, very, very first. And that scared me too, honestly. And that's why it took me a little bit from that very, very first time I went live to doing the Lego incident live. Yeah, it was just like, holy moly, what did I do wrong? And it wasn't that I did anything wrong, it was there were trolls.
Absolutely. And in this journey, what is the most memorable moment you have? Please don't
Oh,
tell me it's a troll. I hope it's not a troll.
it's not a troll. No. I think my very honestly, it's my very first battle I think I did. Um, I was with the agency, I was with New Star, and it was my very first battle. I was so super nervous, and I had so many, which I consider again family from the New Star community, come out to support me, and I won that battle. And it was like the most like amazing feeling ever. I don't typically like battling. I'm not a battler per se, but I wanted to try it. And then of course now here I'm going to be hosting box battles, which is a complete one,
Right? Isn't that a
right? I
transformation?
know. But
Because
yeah,
you
I
went
think
from not battling, you did a
yeah,
few on your own, and then you
yeah,
did a couple of partner battles,
yeah,
and then you guys won a tournament,
yeah. Yes.
right?
Yeah, we
You
did.
won a
Yes.
tournament.
I won a
Um,
2v2 tournament within the agency. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun too. And we were up against two very like they were bringing smoke creators.
oh
That
yeah.
but yeah, I think it's just that to me more than anything is what keeps me going. It's not the, I mean, yes, I love my chat. I love the people that I've, met in my chat that have come in religiously. Like every single time I go live, they're there. But more than that, it's becoming a part of New Star and meeting the people through the agency that have now become, like I said, family. Um, we've never met in person, but it's like we've known, like you said at the beginning, it's like we've known each other for forever.
For a very long time. We spend a lot of time together.
We
So
do.
for those of you guys listening, social media platforms, a few of them have what they call agencies. Agencies are businesses just like a modeling agency that are meant to help you succeed because the more you succeed, the more they succeed, the more the platforms succeed. And oftentimes these agencies are monetized through the platform that they're working in partnership. I happen to work for one of them since the beginning of my journey, right from the get-go. I, like many folks, I didn't have a niche, but I was a teacher. I have a passion for data collection and puzzle solving. And I don't like when people spew misconstruing information that are mismatched from live to live. So because of my nature to like find out the whys and hows of things, I became a TikTok teacher. through the help of the agency, and they were the ones that were like, we really should do this. So Geek became part of our team first by just joining through the chat, through my chat. She became part of the agency as a content creator. And then through hanging out in my chat, she now works for the agency as well as one of their managers. And so, in addition to building a TikTok family, oftentimes creator also have an agency family. And so it's a huge family.
It is.
And it's a very different agency family than most other folks experience on TikTok. And I'm so blessed that we've built this different family.
Oh, me too.
And it's super interesting because we are all over the country with all over content creations, and somehow we always find each other in the same streams.
Mm-hmm. We do. Absolutely. Yeah, it's been an amazing year. I mean, I've only been doing this not even a year. I started early 2024. I feel like I've been doing it for years, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a great way. The people again that I have met through through the agency, through the platform, um, I feel like I can call them anytime. Not everybody, but there's a few. Uh, but yeah, and
Touche.
yeah, yeah, and it's the and I will tell you, I struggle with ever since 2020, ever since COVID. I work from home, so we don't
Me
socialize
too.
a lot. We don't go out. We I have one bestie that's local,
I have
and then
zero. So I
I have
gotcha.
that's local, and then my hairstylist that because if you guys come see me on TikTok, you'll notice that my hair is not a natural color. I have purple hair, so I see my hairstylist every about 6 weeks. So, and he's a good friend of mine. I've known him for over 30 years. But besides those two people, we do not go out and socialize. So I felt very isolated. And so this is another way for me to not feel as isolated. Yes, we may not see each other in person, but I can pick up the
Yet.
phone and I know not yet. We will. I know it'll be it's an eventuality. But
Yes.
I can pick up the phone or I can text Jewel and I can say, "Hey, how's your day going?" Or, "Oh my gosh, can you believe the dot the dot the dot the dot?" And she's one of my besties. I mean, I've never met her in
100%.
person, but she is one of my besties. She is my family now. And, shout out to Megan, one of our, managers. She is the manager.
The
She's
queen of
the
robots.
queen of robot manager. That's when we mentioned that we knew a robot. Yes.
Yes.
Megan
We
and I,
know a robot.
yes, yes. Her and I talk on a daily basis, and I feel like she's my little sister. Um, so
Recently,
it's
she has become my mom.
well, yes, lately, yes, but
It's a
but
conversation for a different day, folks. You're just
oh
gonna
yeah, yeah,
have to stay curious.
oh yeah, absolutely. But I do feel like she's kind of like my little sis. We have Dark Star, who I met through you, who you and her are very very good friends, and
Yes.
she
Again,
is
also never met in person.
never yeah, but she is kooky and just so lovable, and I absolutely she cracks me up every single
Every
day
day.
every day. So there's those people that you just connect with, and I can't imagine now not having these people in my life.
100%. I could not imagine not waking up. Like, my typical day literally consists waking up, brushing my teeth, making my coffee, putting some makeup, and talking to you guys.
Hmm.
Like, if I don't, like, I have done that for 365 days. If
Yes.
I don't do that, I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
Well, and then we get worried.
And then, yeah, today I was late because I was posting emotes. I got like so many texts like, you're late. But
Well,
the same right back to you guys. If I
right.
don't see you live, or and you're not, like, I'm not live and you're not in my chat and I don't see you live, I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. It is, we kind of rely on one another in ways like that, and care about each other. And the fact that, again, if you don't, If you are atypical, I go live, like Jewel goes live 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard, all the time. And if you don't see her, at least within that half hour, time frame, right? Because
Mhm.
sometimes the computer wants to be, wonky.
Computer.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Then you're like, uh-oh, is everything okay? And, but yeah, I will tell you that I have never been a morning person. But
Me
it,
neither.
because of Jewel here, that I have started to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And typically I am
I
multitasking.
hear that a lot.
Yeah, I know. Well, and then what's funny is now I don't even have to really set my alarm. Now, this morning I did sleep in a little bit, but I was still up like by 7. But I don't have to set my alarm anymore. My body knows to wake me up right before 6. And sometimes I'm not really happy with my body waking me up right before 6, but then I'm like,
Especially on Saturday and Sunday when I don't go live at 6 a.m. Eastern and you want to take some rest and my body still wakes me up at
oh
like,
yeah. Oh,
mhm,
and if it
I
isn't my
gotcha.
body, it's my dog, right? So
Oh, gotcha.
oh yeah. Yeah. So which
Oh,
I,
those fur
I'm not
babies.
angry about. I'm not angry about it at all. It makes me um a little bit more productive, to be honest with you, because I feel like now I have a little more time in the day. Even though for the first couple hours in the morning I am assisting you in, by modding in your chat, and sharing the information about the agency and everything. Uh but no, I feel like now I've got a couple more hours in the day that if I have to do something, I now have, I'm able to do that. I log in when I am working, I log into work earlier now than I used to, which benefits me because then if I have to, log off of work a little early in the afternoon, I'm able to do that because I start earlier in the day. So it actually has benefited me. So.
Talking about waking up and being productive and doing all the things, I find that one of the struggles that I have is accepting leisure time. I feel like with social media, you always have to stay on top of the trends. You always have to be one step ahead of the game. You always have to be posting content and creating content. And I feel like, although I 100% enjoy, we're always working. So, what does a streaming day look like to you, and how do you balance your content creation and your streaming?
So I set a schedule. I have a schedule that I, for the most part, stick to. Now, lately, with being on, vacation from work the last couple weeks, my schedule's been a little off the norm. But I set a schedule and I stick to it. If I don't set that schedule and stick to it, then it's going to get very inconsistent. So, because I do work a day job, I, instead of Jewel, like what Jules does by going super early in the morning, I do evening during the week. So, and during the week, I'm 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is my set schedule. Then on the weekends, because I do want to have my evenings free in case we do want to venture out and, do something, I will typically do around noon Eastern Time on Saturdays and Sundays. That gives me the opportunity to have that evening, open. But you have to have that set schedule because if you
Agreed.
you're just going to flail, and then you're going to it, it's almost like, honestly, and I'm always honest, but sometimes I don't want to go live. So
100%.
I really do not want to do this today. I'm not feeling it. I had a bad day at work. I'm just,
And then you
somebody.
hear that annoying HK voice, think about your algorithm.
It is exactly what I hear. I have a little HK on my shoulder that says, you have to do this. No, but more than that, I'll log in, I'll go live, I'll be doing my thing, and then it puts me in a better mood.
Oh, 100%.
It puts me in a good mood. And I'm like, I don't know why I didn't want to do this, but it's just the, gosh, I got to do this again. But once you get into it, then it's like, yeah, this is why I love it. Duh. So You have those days, but staying consistent, and again, it's all about building the algorithm, and talking about that. Yeah, I don't have right now a ton of people that come into my lives. I feel like I am successful, but I want to grow. And that's again going back to the whole rebranding and restructuring my content. But
Which ties to like a little bit of the next
yeah,
question, which is like creativity and how to stay fresh. And I think in your content, at least from the observant side, the outside, the grass is always greener on the outside. Um, I know that's not exactly the same, but it is for today.
sure. Yeah.
Um, is that you started and then you reached a point where your numbers were really high,
Hmm.
and then you had a lot of copycats that came out of your room.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, everyone was doing a
Mhm.
DJ music live.
Yep.
And not only that, simultaneously at the same time. And
Yes.
you, as a manager, started managing a lot of content creators that wanted to do what you do,
Right.
which then became a competition. And then that's when usually you have to also, it's one of the reasons why a lot of content creators, myself included, reassess is that at that point. So, how do you stay creative in this process?
Oh, well, I you kind of just have to think outside of the box. And yes, you're right. There are a lot of people that see, and again, it goes back to the creators that are scrolling through the platform, and they see something and they're like, "Ooh, I want to do that." And then you get another person, "Ooh, I want to do that." And it doesn't take a lot of equipment to do what I do. I have a computer. I have a computer, and for TikTok, I use TikTok Live Studio. So I'm able to stream music through Live Studio. It sounds nice, crisp, clear. But even before I was using Live Studio, I was streaming music through my phone using my Mac, and it still sounded pretty good. But it's super simple to do what I do. So that's why all of a sudden everybody's doing what I'm doing. Now, then there's the next level DJs that actually have the equipment, have the
Oh,
turntable,
yes.
have all of those. I don't have that, and I don't have the cabbage. I think the money. I'm using TikTok terms here. I don't
Right? I always
have
have to remind folks you can say whatever you want here.
I know.
You're
It's so
not going to get
tough.
a violation or a
I know. It's
strawberry.
so tough. It's so tough, because you're so ingrained
Oh,
into not
100%.
saying certain things that you don't want to say them anywhere. Um, but I don't have the money to invest in getting a turntable and all of that stuff. So again, it's let's think outside the box. Let's come up with something that, yeah, maybe there's other people out there that are doing it, but I feel like I can put my own spin on it and make it unique. And that's how you
100%. And
yeah.
that's how you stand out. I mean, your
Yeah.
80s
Mhm.
theme and your
Mhm.
view and your decorations and your backdrop makes
Mhm.
you stand out. Is different. The animations that we do makes it stand out is
Mhm.
different. But
Yep.
you did tap in one of what I found to be one of my biggest hurdles, which was equipment. I'm not gonna lie, when I started streaming, I had an older model iPhone and constantly had to be plugged in. The phone would overheat. Sometimes the live would get shut down because the phone is overheating. And having to find that balance of where to reinvest. And to be honest and candid, I pretty much reinvested 95% of what I financially made this year back into making my lives different and
Mhm.
stand out. What has been your most significant hurdle that you've had to face as a streamer?
Mm.
And like, how did you tackle?
Mm. So I would, obviously, like I said, the time. Did I want to commit to, doing, again, based upon being within the agency and having access to, my manager having access to my data and seeing, my pushes and all of that. You have to go live for at least 2.5 hours to get a good algorithm.
Yes, you
Um,
do.
so that's 2.5 hours on top of working an 8-hour day, did I really want to commit to that? And that to me was, I think, the biggest hurdle in whether or not I was gonna go full bore on
I
being.
remember thinking the same exact thing a year
Yeah,
ago. 15 hours in a
yeah,
month.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
boy. How
I,
many
I
hours do you do? I do anywhere between 80 and 100.
well, yeah, oof, yeah, I'm surprised when I see how many hours I do, and I always reach out, to again Megan, my manager, and I'm like, Megan, I'm like, where are my numbers? Well, how am I doing? I don't feel, and she's like, you're fine. Quit worrying about it. And I'm like, okay,
Yup.
but I can distinctly remember when I first started joining. I joined the agency back in March. In fact, I texted Megan before we started here today, asking her, when did I join New Star again? Because I can't remember those types of things. Apparently
I
March.
had to look at it too.
Yeah,
I
it's like,
joined at the end of November, or
yeah.
actually early December. I thought it was earlier because I spent a lot of time researching and
Ah,
asking them a lot of questions. So I started asking them questions in October, and it took a month and a half for me to join.
I gotcha. Yeah. Me, I think it took like just like a day, but I.
No, it took me a month and a half. I was skeptical.
Yeah, well, I was very skeptical at first too, because I'm like, really? I don't have to pay for this? What?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So I joined, I think it was March the 12th. And I believe shortly thereafter, I was doing, I had to travel for work. And Megan was not my original manager. I had another manager at the time. And I remember messaging them and going, I don't know that I can do this 15 hours. I'm traveling for work. It's going to be my busy season. And they're like, no, you're fine. And I'm like, oh, really? And what people don't seem to understand. So, within the agency, we do have a minimum requirement. It's, 15 hours, like Joel said, but it's spread over a month. It's spread over 7 days within a month. So as long as you go live at least 7 days, and those 15 hours, it's really not that hard. And you can do
It goes
more.
by so fast.
Yeah. And it goes by so fast. So even if you can't do, that 2.5 hours, which again you should, at least that hour and a half, because you have to do at least an hour for it to count as a day. But you can do 15 days 1 hour and you've got it right.
Hmm.
So I struggled with that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know I'm going to be able to do this. But you know what, it's so super simple to do 15 hours in a month. And that's the only minimum requirement that our agency requires. Now other agencies may require other things, but for us that's the only thing that we require. So yeah, at first I was a little reluctant because I'm like, oh no, my first month, they're gonna boot me because I'm not gonna make. No, I totally did. Even with the traveling, even with the not, back,
Right?
I could not be consistent because I was traveling. But yeah, it was super simple and super easy. But again, I think that biggest hurdle was, do I want to commit the time to really do this? And once you start to see some successes, whether they be small or big, you're gonna get hooked.
You
So.
you do get hooked. And I think one of the things that I'm always considering, because especially right now with the political dynamics that is happening in the US, people are always questioning which platform, which this, which things that I use. And I will say I was a late bloomer to TikTok, and I have used all of the other platforms for numerous years for different reasons. I've had small businesses, I've done athletic posts and all this other stuff, and for personal, but I have not had the success in such a period of time with commitment um, that I've had with TikTok. Now, I will say a lot of it goes back to that support team. And so, whether you have a support team from home, whether you have a support team from an agency, or you have a support team from the combo, it is a lot easier journey when you have a support team to assist you.
Hmm.
And so, one of my advices to people starting up is finding the source of knowledge,
Hmm.
where to get the knowledge to grow and be as efficient as possible with the least amount of time.
Hmm. I
That
agree.
is my advice, is to find those resources. Stop wasting your time scrolling the FYP to find inspiration and start scrolling to find knowledge. And with the knowledge, you will find your niche, in my opinion. Now, what is your biggest advice that you would give a beginner streamer?
What you just said. I mean, you have to learn the platform in order to be successful on the platform, and you have to get your information from a credible source.
Oh,
There are
couldn't-
so many people out there that spread mm, I, inconsistent information. They, rumor, speculation, whatever you want to call it. But there are so many people that are out there that think that they know, but they really don't know. And to be honest, I know that there's some that think they're trying to do good by communicating this knowledge that they think that they have, um, when in all actuality they are hindering other people because
Yes,
they did not go to credible sources to get this information. That it was like a game of telephone. They heard it from someone who heard it from someone who heard it from someone, and it became fact. Well, no,
dangerous.
not.
People will lose their accounts. They'll get
Yeah.
permanently
Yes.
banned. They will get restricted. They will lose
Yes.
access to monetization because
Yes.
of misinformation out there.
Yes.
So I agree. Finding a credible source of information is huge, because otherwise your account is in jeopardy.
Mm,
I know a content creator who had an account that had 2.5 million followers. For a reason or another, we won't get into it. He closed this account and opened a brand new account and started over. This brand new account currently has 800,000 followers, and all he wanted was to be able to simultaneously be an affiliate with some of the products that he uses on his comedy cooking lives,
mhm,
and he can't, because his very first TikTok shop was without guidance and misinformation, and he ended up getting a full ban from TikTok shop. And there
mm,
is no appeal process. Now you have a very successful content creator with almost 1 million people that he could be promoting something and pushing this whole entire other world of monetization, and he can't do it because early on the creation of this account he screwed up.
oh,
And now it's either he starts a third account or he
oh,
just sucks it. And so he decided to just suck it up and stick it with it without the aspect that he wanted. But that simple mistake early on cost him a lot. And now he's in that position. And a lot of folks are in the same, maybe not with so many followers, but still in the same position where they've invested a lot of time and money and energy to build an account that
mhm.
is screwed up because of misinformation.
Yeah. Um, can we address the topic of grow rooms, or do we not want to go down that route?
We can. I mean, for those of you listening that are familiar with TikTok, we policies change, and this goes for a lot of the platforms. Policy changes due to political natures, or simply somebody gets mad at something and sensitive about something and sues. And then as a result, the app changes. In TikTok case, it's not necessarily that it was a lawsuit that triggered a change, but it was the inception of TikTok Shop. And TikTok Shop changed commerce online. For those of you guys that are not familiar, there is an affiliate program on TikTok Shop where you can get samples and you can get commissions by selling products from third-party companies. It is very different than other selling platforms like Amazon and Temu and all that, because the affiliate work, it has been streamlined and simplified, and it's so much easier for you to do it on TikTok.
Hmm.
With that being said, when they started this program, it required a certain amount of followers, and very quickly a lot of people find loopholes and ways to cheat the system. So people were um going into spaces and buying followers in order to be able to get their TikTok shop and start selling on TikTok shop. And if you know a little bit of market economy, you can't have too many sellers and not enough buyers. So in order for TikTok to halt this growth of people going to TikTok shop, they passed the policy that says that if you buy followers or you grow too fast and it's not in an organic, natural way, meaning you have a trending video, you get penalized and your account gets penalized. And it's a deep penalty. It
Mm-hmm.
changes the core of your algorithm. It prevents you from going live. It prevents you from entering TikTok shop altogether. It does serious harms.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and a lot of content creators, there's a certain, again, like Joel said, there's a certain number of followers that you need to have in order to be invited by TikTok to become an affiliate. And so, like, if you, like she said, grow too fast, you become ineligible to be an affiliate. And I get a lot of creators that come to me that say, "Oh, I made it to that number, but I'm not getting the invite or I'm not eligible. Why is that?" And I said, "Well, it's because you grew your account too quickly." And they are, saying that you are ineligible now. And there are a lot of content creators that didn't
Pray on
understand
that.
and don't know that, and again, that goes back to the knowledge, that goes back to the, you need to understand how this platform works before you just kind of go rogue and try to do things on your own. I don't think that I would be doing what I'm doing if it weren't for you, first of all, with just your wealth of knowledge, and I trust you with anything that you say when it comes to the platform, because I know that you are getting that information from a credible source. So first and foremost, I listen to everything you say, and I actually will parrot you from time to time. What I mean by that is somebody will ask me a question, and I've got HK coming out of my mouth, because my answer is exactly
And it
what would
goes right
she would.
back. Boopity
Right,
boops.
exactly, exactly. So, that that in itself, is something. And sorry, another thing that people need to realize is that, there aren't a bunch of, like, I think you call them minions. There are not a bunch of minions sitting there watching every single thing,
No,
single
there
person
aren't.
on this platform. There's an AI that has
Yep.
been programmed to watch for things and look for things. And it may not be 100% correct in what it's seeing or what it's looking at, but it thinks it's seeing and looking at certain things. So you might get that AI might say, "Oh, I don't like what you're doing, so we're gonna shut you
Mm-hmm.
down." So people do not understand that either. It is a computer program. It is AI
Has no
generated.
emotions.
It has no emotions. It has
It's not
no.
ethically based. It's literally
Exactly.
financially based.
Exactly. So there are things that, when people are like, "You mean you can't say that? You mean you can't do that? Why? What?" Because the AI has been programmed to look for said words or said activities that they deem not allowed, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it'll shut you down.
And
No.
that is, I guess, a second piece of advice is don't try to fight the system, y'all. This is not that kind of space. If you want to be a streamer, if you want to be a content creator, don't swim against the current. Understand the current and use it in your favor.
Hmm.
Understand how these platforms are operating, what is trending, what is not trending, how to leverage what the AI has built for you to succeed. And instead of fighting against it and trying to revolutionize a computer programming that you're not going to revolutionize, understand the loopholes and figure it out and get creative about it. There's
Hmm.
many ways you can succeed in this platform. Convey what you want to convey, do what you want to do
Hmm.
without having to fight it.
Right.
You're just wasting energy. And this goes back to what you said earlier, finding where to invest your time and energy because you're not going to get either of them back.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. You know, my time is precious to me, as anybody's, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to make the best that I can with that time that I have. I think something that you have said, I've heard you say this, I think the last couple days, tomorrow is not guaranteed,
No,
right?
it's
So
not.
want to do with my time things that I either am passionate about or things that I feel will be a benefit to me. Yes, because I mean, everybody is. Everybody's selfish in that aspect, right?
Hmm.
Do what's best for you. So you have to make those decisions if going streaming, whatever platform it is that time precious to you, or is that time, it is that the time that it takes, is it beneficial for yourself to feel fulfilled, or to feel like you've accomplished something? It is all time related, I feel. So yeah,
And not only tomorrow is not guaranteed, but none of these apps are guaranteed to be here tomorrow either.
well, that as well, yes.
So go out there, open an account with your name on all of the platforms. It doesn't matter which platform you're going to use right now.
Hmm.
Okay. If you have a name and you like your name and that's your name you want to be known as on social media, go out there first and foremost. Snatch your name everywhere. Once
Hmm.
you snatch your name, figure out which platform may be best for you, or maybe it's multiple. Part of my future is cross streaming. Part of my future goals was launching this podcast that I've been trying to launch for a whole entire year. And here we are on episode number 3, technically 4, because I messed up and split one in half.
Hmm.
Episode number 3. This was part of my future goals. It was expanding, diversifying, keeping it current, keeping it fresh. And so, for those of you listening, do the same, snatch your name, make yourself your goals, not because it's New Year's, but because you should always be thinking about how today is going to impact your tomorrow. I know you said that box battling and all of that is a new future for you. Is
Hmm.
there anything else that also you want everyone to know that is part of your future that you are thinking maybe Mr. Geek's business is going to be taking off in a different format? For those of you guys who don't know, they also have a small business, and I'm a proud owner of multiple products from their small business. So this is your chance to pitch. So
Yes.
pitch.
So yeah, so Mr. Geek and I, a little over a year ago, started a sublimation business, which, again, it was because I saw it on TikTok, believe it or not, that I said, oh, let's try this, because we originally were going to do freeze dried candy. This is a little, side story here. Because again, my friend Tiffany, the one that brought me into this whole realm, her and her wife have a freeze dried candy business down in Florida, and I was like, "Ooh, that sounds like fun, and we like candy, and let's try this."
Well, I love freeze
We-
dried candy.
I do
Side
too.
note.
Oh my gosh! So we bought the equipment and we started, experimenting, and then come to find out that the state of Ohio won't let us sell freeze dried candy out of our basement as a cottage business. It's not
Boo
allowed.
hoo.
I know. So we returned said freeze dryer and decided to do something else. And I was scrolling through TikTok and said, "Oh, look, people are making these tumblers and stuff, and they're doing it with this thing called sublimation. Let's dive into that." And we've been pretty successful with it. Again, it's a side gig. So Mr. Geek does work a long hour full-time job as well. So but then we kind of transitioned a little bit, thank you, Jewel, um, into creating emotes for TikTok. So those stickers that subscribers use on TikTok.
For those of you guys, so hold on one second.
HK.
It did totally glitch, and we're gonna add this section to the end of the previous one, y'all. So I'm gonna try to figure out how to merge it.
Oh,
But we did totally glitch and cut off. It just crashed.
uh-oh.
Yeah,
Did it
it's
really?
the timer started counting again. We were so good. I thought that I was gonna get all the way to the
Not,
end. So good.
it's not for me, though. It says 58 minutes, 59
Oh, maybe it's
minutes.
all
It,
good.
it
Maybe we're still going. Hey, if it's all in one piece, it will be fantastic. And disregard this comment. If it's not in one piece, I apologize. It's a learning curve.
Yeah, we just go with the flow. You don't let the technology trip you up, and that's another tool, or tip, I
Yeah.
should say. Don't let the technology you up. No. Okay. So yeah. So Mr. Geek has because HK came to me one day and said, "Hey, can Mr. Geek make a emote of this doing that?" And I said, "Well, yeah, yeah, it was Hello Kitty." Um, I think the very first one was like Hello Kitty, like I don't even remember what the very first one was because we've made so many of them
Yes.
now. But yeah, so Mr. Geek is very talented when it comes to AI artwork. So he started making these
Ludicrous
emotes.
emotes
Well,
for me.
then,
Yeah, I know.
ooh, you know what? Can we turn this into a Tumblr? Because I'd really like to send her a Tumblr, like as a surprise. So, so yeah, I think we turned the very first emote into a Tumblr. Uh-oh. Oh, we just reconnected.
Yeah,
Are you
see, I
there?
told you it was glitching.
Yeah, it glitched. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, okay. So 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, we made a lot of them, and we may have to speed up the end of this because whatever technology is
Yeah,
doing right now
let's see.
is not liking it.
Yes.
But I have this
Yeah.
idea, anyways, that down the road, whether 6 months or a year down the road, I want to revisit the first episodes because the first episodes are going to be our guinea pigs. And y'all are the ones that are
Mm-hmm.
helping me figure this all out and do all that. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yes.
down the road, we're going to revisit and be like, remember that one time when everything glitched and we still recorded and posted? And now let's do it again. And this time, tell us like your journey now. So, long
Mm-hmm.
story short, they have an amazing business. I am going to link
Yeah.
on the comment on the information section for the episode, her social media profiles that she wants, whatever, whichever, all of them, if she wants to
Mm-hmm.
share it, so you can find it and you can go watch her
Mm-hmm.
streams and ask her some more questions because I am afraid that if we continue too long, we're going to completely lose it. So
Womp
I
womp.
know, which was going so well, but Mr. Geek, Mrs. Geek, they both have an amazing business. I am a proud owner of several products of their business and will continue supporting for as long as they continue doing it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I really appreciate you coming in, taking your time, putting
Sure.
up with all my nonsense. I appreciate you as a friend,
Yep.
as a content creator. I absolutely
Absolutely.
enjoying watching your journey.
Right back at you.
And I can't wait what the future holds. And I can't wait to see your streaming journey. And for those of you listening, thank you for making it all the way to the end and seeing what's going to happen. And I will see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.